Megan, I have to work 10 times harder to show how good I am. To be basically, the way I've summed it up is like, it feels like I have to work 10 times harder to be deemed on other people's level.
Hey everyone. Super excited to have you join us tonight. We have Marie Danielle Villon who's going to be joining us, and she has a company called AVS Events. She also just launched AVS Flowers, which is this amazing company that she's going to be shipping flowers all over. So it's her new business, and so it's really exciting time for her as well. But she really does just about there she is. She does just about
Hi,
everything.
how
And
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
You
Well,
caught me in my natural habitat because I was running around and trying to ship stuff to California, and I literally ran out of time. So I am now in the parking lot, and I'm like, thank God for computers. So
right.
let's go.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Well, one of the things I absolutely love, I mean, and I totally botched everything that you do, because you also do, like, you have a flower school, you do wholesale, like, explain all the different things that you do, because you don't just do events.
Yeah. So it started out with events. I was working as a scientist, and then I got married, and that's how the whole idea came up to pursue this new career and do these crazy things. So I started the company like pretty much 2 months after I got married. I was like, I'm starting a company because I can, right? So I so I did, and then and that's how the whole crazy started. 2008. Then as I was working, I understood how weddings worked. The thing about it is I didn't have any experience. I had never worked for somebody. I had never been around any of this stuff. So it was really new to me. And I'm an only child. So I knew nobody who got married, never been to a wedding other than it was just crazy. So that's how it started. That's how the whole thing started, of um, starting my company. And then as I grew into it, I started realizing I'm actually a pretty fierce business person. Yes, I said that. I said what I
You
said.
are.
So that I'm pretty fierce when it comes to my just business, and my instincts, my intuition when it comes to business decisions seem to have been on point. And it just kept going on from there. And there are other things that were always important to me. The work, the caliber of the work, because I'm a very impatient person. Service to me, like if I'm the customer, I'm expecting really high level. And so I knew that it would be equally important that I'm offering the same in return with my work. So that from day one was just how the mindset was. The work had to be constant and always elevated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Dixie Diaz just said your work speaks for itself. It's amazing.
Oh,
I
thank
agree.
you. Thank you, guys.
So,
Yeah.
so you started out doing that, and then you started also. So let me back up for 1 second, because you have your degree in chemistry. Is
Biochem-
that
biochemistry. So I have
chemistry?
a bachelor in biochemistry and a master's in pharmaceutical sciences, because I did my master's as I was working already, because I was already a scientist working, and I was very lucky. I had some really solid jobs working for like some of the most prestigious labs in the world. So how I landed there, I have no idea. But like Cold Spring Harbor Lab is like very, very prestigious. Like the Jim Watson, who discovered DNA structure in the 50s, Nobel Prize winner, he was our director.
That's
And
awesome.
that's who hired me out of college. So I started there, and then I got very lucky. I worked on Human Genome Project, this whole DNA thing that everybody talks about. Like, it started really with us sequencing DNA back then, because I'm like 100 right now, by the way.
Whatever.
So it started there, and so I did a lot of DNA sequencing work, and we actually worked on that project. Um, and then I went from academia to working for private institutions, because that's where I thought I'm gonna get rich. So this is where, yeah, because academics, it's nice. It's you get the whole prestige, but it doesn't really pay. So
Right.
so that's when I decided I'm just gonna go to I'm going to pursue private institutions. And I started working for MClone. And MClone has its own history with insider trading. I won't name names, but there's a lady, you know, all of that happened while I was there. But that's who I worked for. And I did a lot of science work, antibody engineering, all the stuff we're talking about, antibodies and the whole COVID-19 stuff. We used to work, some of my work involved designing proteins and antibodies against types of cancers and receptors and blockers. I won't get into the science bit, but, you know, again, these are some of the things I got to do before before this career. And so I think the question you were asking me was all the different things. Oh, you asked about the degree. So I just gave you my degree background and then what the work I used to do with that degree, which has nothing to do with weddings.
But one of the things that I love that you carry through from that is your understanding and knowledge of really cultivating, like when you get, I mean, you do flowers, obviously. When you get your flowers, like you can prevent them or cause them to bloom when you want them to. So it's not like you're like, oh my goodness, we all have to like work really hard for the next, 10 hours so that everything's done because this is our window of time. Mm-hmm. No, like you know exactly what you need to do. Like that astounds me. So talk a little bit about how you do that.
That's actually a lot of fun, actually. And it's a lot of fun when you put it in that perspective. And I know I'm a true nerd that I would find that exciting, right? So
I love that.
What's cool about it is, like, again, if you understand science, even at the most basic level, you too are able to manipulate the system or the process. And that's all it is. I'm just manipulating the process. And every lifespan or life has stages, right? It has stages. You have from the moment you are born, you're born, and then there is death, right? And then everything else in between. So think of it like that as a cycle. There's beginning and then there's an end and everything else in between. Now, everything else in between is where you can manipulate things. You can manipulate things at any one of those points, even the beginning, maybe not the end. I don't know. But as a scientist, you can control some of that stuff, right? And the way, for example, flowers, these are perishable goods. We all know that once you cut the flowers or even when it's on the tree, it has a lifespan. It's going to begin and die. Different phases of its life. And you can retard that growth process or you can expedite it, for lack of a better word. And that's what you use science for. There are times where if I want to speed things up, I use heat. If I want to slow things down, we know that cold slows any process of development. If like even birth, you can freeze eggs, right? You can embryos you can freeze your embryos. And so that means you have the embryo, but it doesn't develop. You freeze that, you stop that process. Flowers are the same. So you can control your temperature. You can control your environment that will help speed things up or slow things down. And so if you are paying attention, you'll know, you'll understand how to, like, think avocado, right? Here's a basic example. Avocados, when you buy it, it's usually hard. So that's the stage where it's cut and shipped to you, right? So that it's not bruised. But then you take it to your kitchen at room temperature, it gets ripe and now it's ready to eat, right? And that process is something you did. It was a different phase of its life. And then it went into your kitchen at warmer temperature and it brought that process. But you could have sped that process up or you could have slowed it down.
Well, you just solved my largest problem because I always buy avocados and I'm like, why are they still not ripe? But I put them in my fridge. So I need to not put those ones in my fridge. I'm so stupid, right?
No, but that's actually, so now you understand it though. You can go, it depends on what you want. So for example, I'll give you a quick example. Sometimes I get so much flowers where our fridge capacity cannot hold that much flowers. So you know what I do? I stagger the process. Those that I don't want to develop, I put them in the cold. When I'm ready for those, when I'm done working with this batch, I put that in the cold and I take those other ones out. So
I love that.
Play with
That's
that.
So cool.
I know it's a lot of fun. It's very nerdy, but
I love it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. So you can really use it to your advantage and as a business. And that's when it really occurred to me, like ding, 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 ding. Wait, you can really manipulate the process to your advantage.
Right.
And really, and also just from a labor perspective, because it really has real consequences, dollar consequences, you
Right.
know, how you can be more efficient with your work. How long do you need your flowers in your hands? How much can you do by yourself to save on labor if you need to? You can really use that to your advantage, which is what I've learned to do.
I love that. That is so awesome. Now, with all of the different flowers, I mean, obviously you kind of specialize in more of like the luxury market for weddings. And so
Yes.
I think one of the things that I most appreciate is that, you know, you are probably one of the hardest workers I know, and like your work
Oh,
ethic is on par.
thank you.
One of the things that we had discussed before in terms of, you know, everything that's going on right now and just perspectives of what it means to be a Black woman in the white wedding industry,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
what that feels like just on a regular basis. And I think that some of the things that we had talked about before,
mm-hmm,
for you to kind of share those with everyone, because I think it's so important that people are aware of this, not just like, you know, I've seen posts where it's like, oh, I can go for a run and I can, you know, like, yes, that's true.
mm-hmm.
But like, what about your daily life? Like, maybe you're not a runner. You know, what
Right.
if you work in the wedding industry? What are the things that you get to do that maybe your Black counterparts don't get to do without thought? And so, like, one of the things that you had mentioned, you know, just in terms of like just your daily going to the office, like what?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a lot, you know, and it's like, it's a very loaded question. It's an excellent question, because I think now that we're all able to have this conversation, or sort of almost like given permission to just air it out and just say it for what
Right.
it's just, you know, tremendous. And it's like, where do I even begin? Well, first I want to start off by saying I was raised to, like, I love working. I shouldn't love working so much, but I really do. I really enjoy working. And I was also the kind of person who grew up where I'm extremely competitive, but with me. In other words, I don't care if you had the highest grade, I have to get it. I have to beat you. So, but really, it's not like I care that how well you're doing, because I want all of us. I genuinely want people around me to be successful and to do well. Because how much fun is it when you're the only one at the top? It's not cool, you know. So I'm very generous in spirit. So that's really important, I think. But having said that, I've always challenged myself. Like, I had to be valedictorian of my high school. I have to do this. I have to have 4.0. If I lose 2 points, my professors have to explain why I lost that 2 point. Most people are like, you lost 2 points. Who cares? And I'm like, no, I want to know. So I was brought up with that ethics, like, you know, you're unstoppable and you have to sort of, it's you are in charge of that. So I have really, culturally, there's some things I cannot identify with because I wasn't really born in this country. So I was raised here on and off. So some things I can identify with, but a lot of it I don't, because of my background of where I grew up. And where I grew up, it's like everybody can succeed. Yeah, education and work ethic. And that's it. So coming here, living here, though, only recently, I have to say, I started to really feel it, the pressure and the tension. Now, I have had my business for that long, 12, going on 12 years now. Working as a scientist, I cannot say that, oh my God, I see some of my clients online. Hi, Joey. I cannot say that, I cannot sit here and say that when I was working as a scientist, like that, you know, I didn't experience racism or whatever. But the reality, because I know everywhere I went, I would always be the only person who looks like me there. But it never really bothered me because I know that I worked my way there. It wasn't
Right.
handed to me. It wasn't given to me.
Right.
So, you know, I just kind of went about my business and just continued to do my best. Now, and there were always office politics. We all know, you know, corporate America is full of that. So I thought that's normal. But having my own business, it didn't quite, it felt like I'm definitely much more in charge. And so then I started to realize, no, it's still there. It's there in different ways. And I can't say it's subtle, but aggression, sometimes people are just a little bit more abrasive towards you. And I'll give you my own personal experience. To be honest with you, having this chat right now is shocking, because for 5 years of my company, I did not post pictures of myself. And isn't that crazy? And the reason I was, will people want to purchase from me? Will they be okay doing business with me? Isn't that crazy that I even had to? And I've had my other counterparts, women who don't look like me, say, oh no, people will sooner buy from you when they can identify with who you are and your personality. And I always thought, you know what, that's nice, because you get a pass. People don't make assumptions about your ability by simply looking at you. Right. Whereas for me, that was my fears, that I will not get to accomplish or build the kind of business I know I was capable of, or that I wanted to build, if I was out there. Because people's perception of me, what the media has always portrayed, is that I'm not educated. I'm in this angry Black woman and everything that's in between, that actually I'm not. I'm very...
You are the opposite of an angry Black woman.
You know what I'm saying? I'm always like trying to just go about my business and have a good time. And, yes, I know how to stand up for myself, but why should that make me angry? It just means I stand up for myself like everybody else would. And I would expect, if something was not right for anyone, that they would stand up for themselves. That doesn't make me angry. It just means I can stand up for myself, you know? But for the most part, I'm not one who's confrontational. Believe it or not, I have never once fought in my life, in schools, ever. Not once. But I know that the perception people will have just looking at me, that's what it is. And also, too, the caliber of education. Am I going to be able to handle, a $200,000 job? Am I going to be honest? Am I going to handle that money with integrity? These are all the questions I know would come up in people's minds. And so for that, I kind of always made it about my work first and never about Marie Danielle. Isn't that weird? I mean, again, it works for me, to be honest, because that method works for me, because I am kind of a little bit of an introvert. I'm an only child. So should I admit this online? That I like being alone? I don't know if I should admit this to the public, but I actually, COVID-19, I'm like, I'm good. Quarantine, it's perfect. I get a lot more done. I like being alone. So so again, I literally purposely did that, though, because it was very intentional, of staying out of the public, networking, because I knew it's very important. But having said that, I wasn't I purposely kept a low profile with my own personality, like really sharing who I really am. I kept it very sort of on the surface. And those who got to know me really got to know who I am, because I can't be anything else. I am who I am, and I don't try to hide it from those who I'm friends and close with. And there are many, many, many in the industry who look like me or who don't look like me, who knows the real Marie Danielle, and we all love each other and we all work well together. But one more thing I want to mention, which is so important, is that in the industry, there's a lot that I have experienced. The truth is, every time I have walked into a venue, especially given them in the luxury side of things, I think that itself has its own sort of, why are you here? Do you belong here? This is the big leagues. Meanwhile, I'm probably, as good, if not better, than so many others who are so-called in that league, right? But I think especially in that category, my ability is questioned, my credibility and my talent is questioned, because I feel like everywhere I've walked, when I walk in, there's always that little bit of people being condescending, and it's subtle, but I recognize it because I'm subject to it so much that I know it. I know when you're being condescending. I'm not stupid. I may not say anything, but just people make it a little harder for you. Like, the freight elevator no longer is available to you. And my staff members and my team members, who are some of the badass, excuse me, did I just say that on the air? Total badass, some of the smartest, hardest working people you'll also meet. Because, if you're around me, I don't do mediocre. So everyone around me is like killer at what they do. Yeah. But when we walk in, some of them look like me. some of them do not. There is always this little tension, not tension, but like sort of look down on us as if we don't belong. Meanwhile, I'm recommended at some of the top venues like Ohika Castle, but I don't have to sit here and explain where I'm from and who I am and my abilities.
Right.
But that's the assumption that's made, and I know where it comes from. In the end, we always manage to kill it and crush it and do epic events and earn. I guess I would maybe I earned their respect then.
Right.
But it is. I would say the majority of our experience has been like that. The majority. Right. If I've done 400 events, I would say of the 400, except for the venues where it's repeat business, where they know us already and we're like, yo, hey, they're here and they're excited to see us. Because I have a lot of good friends, and there has been, again, also I want to mention, I do want to say this and honor this. There are so many people who have had a hand in the success of my company. Some who look like me, many, many, many who didn't. And it's the simple little things like, we have a storage unit and that person gave me a better deal or gave me 2-3 months free because he knows my story and he's trying to help me get my business off the ground. And there have been many, many, many people like that who have had a hand in building a votre service, So I want to mention that too, because there's balance. There is balance. And I think too, once people get to know me, there is definitely balance comes, but it shouldn't have to be that when I walk in, the worst is assumed.
Right. And I think that the assumption is there, and whether or not the people who are making those assumptions are aware of it, and whether or not white wedding professionals are aware that these assumptions exist for people who don't look like them, they do exist.
They absolutely do. And I'm very, very aware of it, unfortunately, that Megan, I have to work 10 times harder to show how good I am, to be. Basically, the way I've summed it up is like, it feels like I have to work 10 times harder to be deemed on other people's level. And when you have to work 10 times harder, you're probably 10 times better.
Right.
To then still be playing in the same league as everybody else who might be okay, you've had to really scratch and be 10 times better to just be deemed good. When no, I'm not good. I'm excellent,
Right.
So, but that's okay. I mean, again, I have been very, very lucky and grateful. I've had tremendous clients who, I mean, I don't know why they choose me, but they have chosen me. And again, perhaps they're more interested in my work, not the color of my skin. That's the only thing I have to say. And some of them I may have differences with, and their choices and political opinions and whatever. But what I've also learned is they would never have chosen me if they didn't respect me.
Right.
And so I have that to fall back on. And that for me is maybe a little bit, that's what's redeeming, is that probably the majority of my clients do not look like me. They don't. Right. And I guess, again, it's redeeming to know that that group who selected me, they were interested in excellence. They were interested in somebody who cares. They were interested in someone who they knew would move the earth to give them what they're looking for. And that's how it is. I will move the planet to get what my client wants. So, and that to me speaks a lot about their character, and that also there's hope in the world, because there's a lot of them, that a lot of clients and people like that who are much more focused on big picture. Like, they want an amazing experience, and they know, oh, you do amazing, you're it.
Right.
I don't care if you're purple or black or whatever. Marie Danielle, you're it, because I want that level of experience.
Right. And I think that's so important to know, because it's, everything that's going on, it's not just like this big bash fest of like, oh, or victim card or anything else that you want to call it. It's really about making people aware of the fact that you do have to work 10 times harder. And
yes, I do. Because I think, again, my counterpart walks in because society says this is what beauty looks like. This is what perfection looks like. And she doesn't look like me, or he doesn't look like me. And so with that, there is always that little bit of stigma. There's always, and sincerely, I really think it's just a subconscious thing, because I don't believe people are just born bad people. I don't believe they mean to do bad things. I don't believe that, actually. I just think it's in their subconscious. And then every now and then, it comes up where you see them behave a certain way because they want to get what they want to get. And a lot
Right.
of them too have come to understand how to turn it on and how to turn it off. When it's
Right.
time to get what I want, I know what card I have to play. I get
Right.
that, you know. It kind of goes back to when I saw the video of the lady in the Central Park. She
Right.
knew what to do and how to turn
Right.
it on to get the reaction she needed. But do I believe she walks around thinking, hey, I'm just gonna, I
Right.
hate black people? I don't believe she walks around thinking she hates black people. I just think she understands the system ways to her benefit, and she understands how to use it. And I
Right.
think that's kind of what we're talking about too here. Again, it's not a matter of me feeling victimized. I don't walk around like a victim. No
Right.
one should feel sorry for me because I'm doing what I want.
Right.
But there is that consciousness, though, like we talked about this not long ago, driving to my office. I live 23 minutes away from the office. If there's no traffic, maybe I can get it out of the way in 15 minutes. With traffic, maybe 30 minutes, right? But there's certain areas, even though it would save me more time, I'm scared to drive because I have been pulled over so many times in my car. I drive a really big car, and it's not for vanity. I like a nice car. I mean, it's not fancy, but the truth is I like a big truck, right? But I don't have it for vanity. I have it because it helps my work. You know, this car is used for my job. I carry all my bride's stuff in there. I carry all my flowers in here. We have a box truck for the business, but this SUV, I mean, I can't even tell you how many mileages on this car, but it's used for business. It's used for work. But I also think perhaps some people think I don't belong in it. And because sometimes I question, why am I stopped so much, and it's inevitably the same areas to the point where now I know the
Right.
areas and I literally do not drive there anymore, even
Right.
though it's kind of like making a complete detour and completely out of my way. But that's what I've had to do.
Right.
Just trying to, I don't know, up my chances of survival and not some crazy incident where I would stumble on someone. And again, I hear it even from people online, some of my friends who are people that we follow each other online. And I see comments about, there's good people and bad people. There are good cops and bad cops. The reality for me, though, is I don't know who I'm going to be stopped by. Is it one of the good people or is it one of the bad people for that day? And how he's feeling for that day. Is he angry? Is he pissed? Or, you know what I mean? How is he feeling
Yeah.
for that moment? And then I'm going to be the victim to catch his wrath or to catch whatever it is he's feeling like subject me to.
Right.
Maybe he's going to think I'm too dark. Maybe he might also find me very amazing and sexy and gorgeous. I've had that too. I have. When I was younger, I had gotten
You
that.
are. Hello.
Uh-huh.
I said you are. Hello.
I have been pulled over where, and I would get away with the ticket and, they would flirt with me and hey, let's go. And I would get out of the ticket. So, you know what I mean? So it's like, well, I don't know who I'm going to catch for that moment,
Right.
And how he is
Right.
or she's going to be feeling about me. And could it also be the situation that escalates simply because I'm breathing and I shouldn't be breathing
Right.
according to that person,
Right.
and that's what's scary about it, and it's not because in my day-to-day activity, I'm thinking about how everybody wronged me, but it's those moments where it becomes a reality that, oh no, you could lose your life in that moment that easy. It's too easy.
Right.
It's too
Right.
easy, and that's
Right.
what's occurred to me. It's become way too easy. I'm a mother and I live really for my Mikael, and that's it. And my goal and my dream in life is to raise her, to be able to raise my child. That's all I want, and I'm sure of every parent, that's their wish, but it's become so clear that there are a lot of moments, and it's not because, if I didn't stop at a stop sign, I'm okay with it. Give me a ticket. I'm good. I'm okay with that. But we don't have the same privilege where it's going to be that simple. It could be it can very quickly escalate because that person feels a certain way or has an opinion about me beyond just, let me give this girl a ticket.
Right.
Yeah. So in the industry, like I said, there's a lot of good. there are a lot of people who are really about hard work, good work. I work with some of the top vendors who are like kick-ass. They're amazing, so talented, so smart. And they see me on their level. You know, they value my opinion because I'm always right. Um, so, you know, and it always, sometimes it also struck me at different times where I'll work with a group of all men, you know, tinting companies, and I'll have opinions, and not one time, I should say, do they question my ability, that my opinion was valid or not. They always make time and say, oh yeah, Marie Danielle, you know, this is the best way to do this, and you're right, we can definitely go that route, blah 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 blah, and we work out the problems, and there's a high level problem sometimes we're solving together. So again, there is good, but I would definitely say the hospitality side, when we're working at venues, when we show up, the assumption that you're not going to be able to deliver at a certain level, that's real.
Yeah.
You know, that's real, and we always have to just kind of prove that we're total badass,
Right.
you know. And I see it, because in the end, people will take 1,000 photos, then they'll come in like, oh my God, where do you get your flowers, and give me your card. Okay, but don't think I didn't notice how you treated me up front. I
Right.
did. I took notice, you know.
Right.
So there is some of that, but I think bigger picture for me is the more scary thing is clearly dealing with the police,
Right.
because, you know, your life can be taken that quickly, that easily, and it's scary. And again, I'm not suggesting everybody's bad or have bad intentions,
No.
but I don't know the good ones. I can't tell.
Right.
If there was a way they can have a little sticker that says, I'm a good one, Black lives do matter to me, then I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a good one. I'm good.
Right.
I don't have to be scared. But the word I want to use is, the first time it occurred to me, I felt terrorized. I felt literally terror. I felt terrified when I was being pulled over. And even till this day, I quickly get all my stuff out of so I'm not reaching into my purse. My hands are on the steering wheel. And I remember one particular instance where it felt very undignified, where I was asked to get something, but it was still in my purse. So I literally remember hearing my voice saying, okay, I have to go in my purse to get it for you. But it's almost like I felt like I needed to warn him of what I'm about to do. And it felt like, you know, it felt subhuman, that it really felt subhuman. And, you know, I died a little bit that day, that I felt I had to do that to protect my life, and, you know, that the worst is not assumed.
This is what I want people to understand, is that this is the experience of a Black wedding professional. Every time you have to go to work, every time you're driving there, you're bringing.
Well, let me explain it. Let me say it another way to you, because my best friend said it the other day. And let me just say it like this without sounding arrogant. Not just a Black wedding professional, but a professional with a master's degree from top universities in this country, have worked at some of the top companies, corporations in this country. I'm a homeowner since I was 26 years old. What else can I say? I've had amazing stock options, you know, all these things that we're supposed to do to be valued and to earn respect. I've done them, but here I am still, we're having this conversation. And so, no, it's not just like it's a thug in the street, or I've heard people say, you know, these boys with their pants hanging down, that hanging down and not at their waist or whatever, sagging pants, I should say. I don't know. English is my second language, so sometimes I get all this stuff mixed up. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, you know, the sagging pants boy who's going to be subject to that. It's a woman like myself who's done everything that was asked of me. Like I said, masters and homeowner, business owner. You know, I have never, and not to say there's anything wrong with that, but I've never been on government help. I've lived here since I was 18 on my own. And even then I struggled. I worked whatever jobs while I went to school. I was an RA. I had jobs outside of college, anything and everything to make ends meet, and never asked for any handouts. So, but here we are. We're still experiencing the same thing from the top to whatever. You know, so I don't know. I don't know the answers. I just know if this conversation helps, and I do watch it in the industry, like some of the certain magazines, certain things, and I know it's like it's kind of cliquish. And me, I don't do clicks. I told you already, I'm an introvert. um, there are a lot of, again, amazing media people that are out there too, who have seen it for what it is and focus on the work and not the person behind the work. So those people too, I want to honor them. But then there's other things too, where it's the same people. It's a conference and it's the same conference, and there's no one else who would look like myself on that platform.
Right.
And is it because we're not, educated on the topic? No, it's not the case. It's like we don't have the opportunity. And the last thing I want to say about that is, I'm also not the kind of person who's going to box myself in and feel like I have to hang out with only people who look like me, because that's insane. Because where's the success in that? Success is mainstream. It's big. It's go big. Go tackle the world. I think very large. I think in abundance, and that's how I live. And so for me, I'm also not going to box myself in also and feel like I must do business with people who look like me. I must surround myself with only people who look like me because I'm going to have a better chance. I'm not doing that. I don't care. You can start a magazine. I don't feel like this is where I'm going to spend my money. I spend money where there's a return on my investment, period.
Right.
And not because I need to be comfortable to surround myself with the people that look like me. I'm not interested in that either. All I want is just equal opportunity and equal chance to show you. Let me show you too how good I am. Give me a platform to speak to an audience and I'll show you how good I am. Give me that opportunity. You know what I mean? And if I failed, hey, that's my problem. I did that. But, it's not always given. It's the same people. And because, I don't know. Maybe they're thinking people will respond better because I don't know. I don't know the answer. But perhaps this talk here then will open up things where we all get the opportunity. And, like some of the magazines who have featured my work, when they ask me for work or flowers or whatever, I never actually think of it as, I'm a token or no, because what I know is the reason they come back to and ask me for more stuff is because they know I'm going to give them amazing things that their audience is going to be excited about. Mm-hmm. And I always remember that. I always focus on that. When I do work for somebody or like my business to business stuff, I always think about their audience or what is their goal so that I'm creating for them what will get them there. And so again, my level of consciousness about all of this is not just let me get an opportunity, but also how do I make you look good? And that's probably why too, some people always call me back. We have a responsibility also as whatever African-American or Black folks, Black women or men, is to do killer work. Do work that's worthy, that's magazine worthy. If you're just following a chain, like everybody's repeating the same thing, no, nobody wants to see that because it's yesterday's news. Keep creating, keep giving work that they want to showcase. And it's not because they want to showcase you, their audience is going to want it. And that sells. Right. Always think about how can they make money off of your work? That's what I do. What opportunity? How can I let people make money off of my work? I'm okay with that. And I also get some of what I want too, because it's at the same time, my company goes more mainstream. Every time my work is published, someone credits me, more eyes are on my work and my name and my business name. So really, I think of it as a two-way street. Like they're giving me the opportunity when it comes, but I also want to make sure that they call me back. So I always do work that's over delivering and doing work that I know is going to be exciting, not just for them, but mainly for their audience. Because I know ultimately what makes them successful is that audience buying their products. So I have to make them look good. Vendors, when vendors put you on their recommended list, I take that very seriously because it is so important, because you representing them, everything that goes wrong, that client is going to come back and say, well, you recommended so-and-so and they didn't do good work. So when they recommend you, where's your responsibility in that? Are you doing work at high level? Not only, I get even more scared when I'm recommended for things, to be honest, because I know if I failed, I'm not just me, I'm also, they've failed too, and that client knows that. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
it's a two-way street too at some point. Like there's some responsibility too on us or Black folks too to be doing work that is worthy of everyone talking about, not just us or them. Everyone can recognize it as solid, fantastic work.
Right.
So.
Right. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. And I was going to mention too, is a little while back, event designs by Deb. She had mentioned like one of the things that she experiences sometimes is when like you walk into a venue and people either assume you're lost, ask, can I, are you looking for someone? Like you couldn't possibly actually be there for the wedding
Mm-hmm. Yes.
to
Sorry.
work with her. You
Uh-huh.
know, I think those are the things that I think a lot of people are digging deeper, hopefully, about.
Yes.
Those are the things that we want people to understand, that it's those, they're, sometimes they're microaggressions, sometimes they're not even awarenesses. And those are the things that we have to
But
really,
that's what I was saying. It's subconscious, like stigmas
right,
that I've not seen people who look like you here. And I'm telling you, I deal with it a whole lot. And I think part of that is just a function of the market that I operate in. We operate
right,
on the higher level, more high end, and it's not abnormal that some of our clients are spending 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 on a wedding. Um, and I think that that puts us at an even greater a place, not risk, but where it's kind of like you don't belong here. We don't see
right,
people who look like you here. I don't know. Look, dude, I just have a job to do. I was hired and I'm just here to do the job. you know
right,
I don't know who you see every day and I don't really care. I'm just here to do a job, get it done, kill it, and go home and make sure my client is happy.
right,
But what's cool is though, and again, I don't know that the stigmas are removed, but a lot of times when we're done, like I said, that when we walk away, then then it's it feels like then we're celebrated, like, oh my God, the work was amazing. And when we're done with what we came to do, and it's like, no, they didn't just deliver as quote Black people, they
right,
delivered at the highest level, period.
right,
And anybody who's delivering, it could be, I don't know, Latino, it could be Irish, it could be Greek, it didn't matter. High level is high level.
right,
You did something high level and you exceeded expectations. And not everybody can do that. I don't care what complexion you look like, not
right,
everybody can deliver excellence.
right,
And to me, that's where, but definitely we deal with that a ton. And even venues places where we've been before, the turnover rate in hospitality is
right,
very high. So it could be a venue we were just at, I don't know, a month ago. This time it's a new manager and new something. And it's like, why are you here? And it's like, here we go again, you know, um, being assumed to be less than. But like I said, I stay laser focused, Megan, on the goal. Laser focused. Like I don't look left or right, because if I have to waste time looking at you and acknowledging you, I've lost time. I'm
right,
wasting my own time, like getting to that goal where I'm heading. So I'm really laser focused on success first, and goals and what that looks like. And success could be whatever I decide it is. You
yeah,
know,
yep,
it could be I designed the killer flower, and today, that's success.
right,
So I just stay laser focused on the goal. I don't look left and right. I don't look at competition. I don't look to see, hey, this wedding planner, well, she's white and how come she got it? I don't care, because there's enough to go around, and I just have to figure out how to get the part that's mine.
right,
I'm not interested. I'm not worried about, because to me, again, the analogy is if I'm looking around left and right to see, it's a race. Who's next to me? You slow down when you're looking around.
yep,
How do I perfect my system is much more what I spend more time thinking about, much more than racism, much more. And like I said, I mean, it really didn't even occur to me until recently that it became a thing in my consciousness.
right,
More. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that it exists. I'm not naive and stupid enough to not know that it exists, but it only recently where I'm aware of it to the point where it's affecting my behavior, if
right,
that makes sense. Like driving, I
Right.
choose not to drive a certain place because of XYZ. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Um, I was aware of it, but I never felt like I needed to change my behavior to
Right.
accommodate it. And more recently, I feel like I've had to accommodate it. And this is why having this conversation now, perhaps, I'm willing to have that conversation. Because in the past, I wouldn't even bother. Because I'm like,
Right.
you know what? You're an idiot anyway. So I wouldn't even care what you think if that's who you
Right.
are.
Right. But
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why I really appreciate you having this conversation, because so many people, they feel uncomfortable even saying it out loud, because these
Yeah.
are things that nobody should have to think about. But in reality, if we don't say it out loud, other people aren't aware of it and can't empathize, can't understand, don't know it exists, because it does. And that's
Right.
why I so appreciate you.
Well,
You're
I
willing.
think that's why
It,
I decided to do the talk also with you. Is also, I am an instructor, I am a mentor in our industry. Um, there are people who seem to actually care what I say and what I have to say. I don't know why they care, but they seem to care.
lots of
There are people who seem to care. So
lots of
then I thought, you know what, maybe they need to put a face to that, that even though it may appear on the surface, like à votre service, we have good success and blah, 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 blah. We have great clients. So everything is fine. What do you have to complain about? I don't talk about that because, again, I'm not interested in putting any energy there. But it's not because I'm not subject to it, is
right,
why I thought it's important to voice it.
right,
Like I said, my clients, they're amazing people who don't look like me. And it's very redeeming because I've done amazing work at amazing places, like tons of dollars thrown at these events that they want, which is like so extraordinary when we're done. And they chose me. So again, it's very redeeming. And this is why I choose to speak about it, because I know my market, my brides, my clients, they're still coming to me.
yeah,
And they're not coming because I'm a Black woman. They're coming because I'm Mary Danielle, who kicks butt and who does tremendous, epic work for them. And I'm going to deliver high level, high caliber. They'll never have to worry about delivery by hiring me.
right,
So I chose to speak on it for that reason. But also, my industry peers, who some of them do look up to me, some of them do call me and ask questions. And how did you do this? And do you have resources for that? I want them to also know, but because I don't have these conversations with them, that yes, it happens to all of us.
right,
And even with my so-called fancy masters and fancy scientist title, I'm still subject to it, you
right,
know. But like I said, I mean, I choose not to even give it life, because I'm just, again, right now my focus is e-commerce. How
right.
quickly can I get my flowers out in every home in the United States?
I love it. I love it. Conquering
And
the world.
literally, I'm sitting in the parking lot of UPS because I just shipped something to. And you know what? Again, let me give you a quick example. This young lady I met, I don't even know, at least 2 or 3 years ago at a wedding, and this was at 620 rooftop.
Orchids.
And huh?
Is that the one where you did like the orchids that were like fall, like waterfall? Like it was like
I've done so many. I've been,
it was
again,
so
I love that property. I've done a lot of work there. But
okay.
no, this is a different one. It had orchids too. It had orchids too, but it was white orchids. It was gorgeous. Such a gorgeous event. Very intimate event. They're a very close-knit group who are very supportive of one another. I remember we had to work with Secret Service on that job. So it was a lot. There was a lot going on. But again, it's such a cool group. And when we heard there was Secret Service, I was like, oh no, who are going to be the types of people I have to interact with and how they're going to
Right.
treat me? Because again, it's in the back of my mind. How am I going to get treated? But then the group came, and the Secret Service too was wonderful to work with at the time. They were gentlemen, good people from what I saw. I had a good experience. But then the guests, they were amazing. Such a fun-loving, good people, funny people. They were so funny. Um, so many things happened throughout that night, and I have some great memories. Like one of them, she hugged me, and it's a hug I've never forgotten. And I still have the pictures because the photographer was walking by and snapped the picture. But I would have never been that comfortable to just go around hugging people. But then she just wrapped her arms around my neck and just hugged me. And it felt like love. It felt like, you know what? you're here and we want you here. It was good. So fast forward, that was the last time I saw her, but she was a guest at a wedding. So she sees that I have e-commerce going, and she's like, I want your flowers in my home. So I just shipped flowers for her, and she was only a guest at my weddings. She was not even one of my brides. It was one of the guests. So again, I'm very grateful for all of those experiences as well, I should say, because that's also redeeming to know that there are people out there who are just, they want to do the right thing. My hope is also too that doing the right thing is not just limited to being nice to me, but also when they're in a situation like Amy Cooper,
Right.
that other card doesn't come out. I mean, I've not seen people in that light, so I can't speak on it. But that's my only hope too, is that the love is really genuine. But like I said, the things that I do know, the people I've come to know, I know that it's genuine, and I know that there's love there, for other people. So that's all I have to say. I don't know if you have any more questions.
Thank you. They're gonna like kick us off. They always kick me off at an hour, but
Okay.
but I thank you, seriously, thank you so much. Because I mean, again, having these things said out loud, so that just awareness, because sometimes it's just being aware, and being aware that somebody else's experience that's not yours is real. It's not made up. It's not in their head. It's not paranoia. It's real. And it has nothing to do with your level of education, has nothing to do with your
Oh, it's real. Do you know how
real?
It's so real. Do you know how annoyed I am? I have to take that extra 10-minute drive. I mean, and the thing about it is, I'm like, this is my office. I pay good money for this office. I should be able to work any hours, anytime I want. And I love being there. I get lost in my work. It's very cozy. I love it there. But now, much more lately, I've had to really look at the clock. Oh no, you got to get on the road. Okay, you got to get on the highway where there's more people. So if you're pulled over, it's really scary and it's quite annoying. So I'm really, more than anything, I'm really annoyed. It's an extra 10 minutes that I'll never get back.
Listen, we all need to root out systemic racism, because at the end of the day, it's annoying. And it is. It's very annoying.
Beyond annoying, it could be fatal.
It can be.
It can be fatal,
Yes.
which is we're making light of it. I'm trying to make light of it. But it is it's very scary. Like I said, and there are times where I do feel like terrorized. My kid, I remember being pulled over and Mikael was in the car. I was petrified. And it's like, again, give me the ticket. I'm good. Yeah. I'll pay it. I'm good. Or I'll go to court. I'll hire an attorney. That's okay. But I was petrified with my daughter in the car. What does it mean? How is he going to treat us? Is it get out of the car so I can search the car? And what did I do something that offended you? I don't know. Yeah. And then of course we talk about the other everyday people. Those people, I mean, to be honest, like I said, I just dismiss and keep going. But the one that could have life, that could have life fatality, that's the part I take a lot more seriously. Right. Yeah. Right.
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
Or someone doing something where, again, they know they can get away with hurting you because the system weighs to their benefit. And I'm not talking like just police. I'm talking like just anybody, because we have regular civilians too who feel like they can just take a life because there'll be no consequences. Right. That's insane. That's insane. All the reasons why I have to take that extra 10 minutes, you know, and drive out of the way so I'm not anywhere that could be harmful. Right. And there's no perfect system because it doesn't mean the other way nothing could go wrong, but you just kind of try to mitigate and just try to navigate. And, instead of just focusing on my work, I have to think about all of that nonsense, putting energy and waste of my energy.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't be.
No, I am. I think I wish that it wasn't the case. But again, like I appreciate your willingness to talk about it because people need to hear it. And I think that's that's part of this is being able to speak your truth and understand that, you know, people keep saying they're listening, but it's
I'll
like
tell
if
you
you
the last quick thing. I'll tell you the last quick thing, and I'll make it like exactly a minute. I remember it again in 2008 when I started the company. It took 2013 for me to ever post a picture of myself anywhere. And I recalled it was a video. I decided I wanted to start doing video marketing because that was hot. That's where it was. Everybody was looking at videos to find their wedding planner or a designer. So I had to get in the game. But I did not know how to do that. I was so scared what would happen. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my business because nobody's going to buy from me because they know I'm a Black woman behind the company. I was so scared. And I actually shared it with the videographer because I tried to get out of it. I explained, I said, why don't we do voiceover? Maybe we use a lookalike. And I did. I said to him, I said, maybe why don't you film my staff, my team members? There you go. And then you can just have my voice. I tried to get out of it. And then finally, I told them my fear. I was like, you know what? Here's the truth. Here's my fear. I've never put pictures of myself because I didn't know the consequence of that and how it would impact my business. And he goes, do you understand you're one of the most eloquent people and smart people I've ever met? He goes, no, if anything, you need to be in that video. You need to let people see how freaking smart and bright you are. No, you need. And I said, you know what? If you can make me look fabulous and amazing, then I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you, but know that this is my fear. And I trust you to do your part to highlight me in the best way possible. And he did. And it was the thing that I think one of the biggest things that started to make a change in my business. It was the beginning of all things bigger and more fabulous. It really was. But I also know I chose the right job. It was a beautiful job, big money. So I chose, all the things too that I knew people would want to see. They would want to see behind the scenes of something that big. So we did everything right in that video, I think. And that's probably why I got away with it. I don't know. Or maybe it wasn't that bad. And maybe in what was in my head wasn't that exaggerated. It was exaggerated in my head, the response I would get. And instead it worked to my benefit. So.
Well, I'm glad that you did because everyone needs to see your beautiful face.
That's right. Let me do what my daughter does.
I've seen her do that. She's so cute when she does. She very.
She does. Yeah,
she's like.
She's always posing. She's always
adorable.
with two hands, and then she does her feet. So, yeah, Michaela's going places, girl. She's going places.
Well, she has to because she's your child. So.
And I joke, I'm like, maybe she'll become a bum too. Who knows? But no, whatever.
Everyone says congratulations. So nice to. Kate Neal said, so nice to hear your story and learning more about you. Hearts and thumbs up. Wow, everyone's and and this is the thing is like I love you as a human being, and I love that you are willing to share your story. So thank you so much.
And thank you for allowing me. Thank you for the access. Because I would have never thought to do that. Because again, I keep a very low profile. I still like to be the introvert that I am and minding my business and focus on my work. So this was a lot of fun, and I actually enjoyed sharing it so that if it does anything to the world and does make anything better for me, for all of us, not Black people, everyone, white people have better understanding, Black people to also recognize that we too have our responsibilities, what we must do, educating, sharing, talking, doing right by others also. If any of that comes from it, then it's a good thing.
It will.
But right now, back to e-commerce.
All right. Well, good luck with your shipping. And if you guys want flowers by Marie, you can go to avsflowers.com and order some, and you can have some in your home.
That's right. So again,
all right. Well, have a great
night. I got that from science. Like scientists, we used to have a volleyball team. And every time we would score, we would say, yeah, that's right. So that's where that came from. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, in your face. That's right.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
And thank you. Thanks everyone for watching. And I love you back. And thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
Do I just turn off this thing? What do I do?
Yep, I'm gonna turn it off, and they're gonna kick us off in 19 seconds anyways. So I'm
Okay,
gonna turn
let's
it off,
do this.
and we'll be all
Okay.
set.
Okay,
All right, bye.
bye.